Hey guys, a little something new. I want to do a board game review and a how to play video because I've been getting really into board games lately, and games are games, even if they're video or retro or board games. And two, this game has been so much fun that I want to just tell as many people as I can about it because I love it that much. It's called Coup. Coup was released actually like in 2012, so it's nothing new, and a lot of you who are into board games probably already have heard of it and have played it. But a lot of people haven't heard of it, haven't played it, and I want to kind of walk you through how to do it, how to play, and a review of the product itself. So first, let me open it up. Now, it's not really an unboxing because I've already unboxed it, but the box itself is very small. So it's portable, easy to carry around. Inside these are like your money chips. They came originally in a bag, but I got rid of that bag. I don't really need it. So just put the chips here. And then you've got 15 cards. Now these cards, they all have personas on them. And there's 3 of every persona, and there's 5 personas. So there's 15 cards, 3 of each. We'll go over those in a little bit. I want to point out these cards are big. So here's like a magic card. You can see this card is a bit bigger than that. I don't think it's tarot sized. I've heard them called tarot sized, but I don't believe they are because tarot cards are narrow. But I'll tell you exactly what they are. They're 65 millimeters by 100 millimeters. And if you want to get cases for them, you want to get Mayday premium card sleeves, 65 by 100. That's what you need. Now, Mayday also sells something called Magnum sleeves, which they should just call diarrhea sleeves because they're pieces of shit. I bought the Magnum sleeves first, and they're horrible. They feel like shit in your hands. But these premium sleeves are what I'm used to, so all my cards are sleeved up. And I think this is a game that's important to sleeve, because if any of these cards are marked or the corners bent in any way, it kind of does ruin the game. It's you don't want to be able to identify a card when it's face down in this game. So let's go through the instructions. There's a bunch of these like reference sheets, and on them all of the actions are written. But what we'll do is we'll walk through it sort of. So I'm going to deal out some cards here, and the way the game works is we're going to play with. I got some personas. So we have Asperia is going to play against Olivia and Zedru. So they're going to play, these 3 characters are going to play against each other. The magic cards are unrelated, just so I can name them. Olivia, Asperia, and Zedru. All right, so I'm going to shuffle these up and deal out 2 to every player. And then these go in the middle, and then everybody also gets $2 to start with, or 2. They're called, it says 1 ISK, I-S-K. So it's like $1 million. Think of it that way. So conceptually, what's going on in this game is these people, or the players, whatever, are like big, important, influential figures that are vying for power and money. And they do that by taking advantage of their loyalty they have from other important people, which are the faces that are on these cards. The goal of the game is to eliminate all of the influence that your opponents have by making them remove their 2 cards through the use of a move called a coup. And the very last item you can do here, or action, is called coup, which says pay 7 coins, choose a player, and that player loses influence, which is a card. So I guess at the fundamental core of the game, you want to get up to 7 money, and then coup someone, and then they lose one of their hit points, if you will. And then you want to coup them again, and they lose their 2nd hit point, and they're out of the game. Now, in between, there's a bunch of ways you can use to generate money, and then we'll go through it as we go. So I'll put this right here so we can. You probably can't read it, or maybe you can, but I'll read it out loud. So we'll just go in order, okay? So we'll start with Olivia. The first action is called income, which is take 1 coin. This is the safest action you can take, and it can't be interfered with by any other player. Nothing can stop you from taking income, and that's what Olivia is going to do. Now, Asperia is going to take Foreign Aid. Foreign Aid means she takes 2 money, but this action can be challenged by anybody who has a duke in their hand. Now, in this case, let's say Zedru is going to say he has a duke. He's going to say, I have a duke, and I'm going to block that Foreign Aid. That means that she no longer gets Foreign Aid, and her turn is forfeit. But she has a recourse. She can say, you know what, Zedru, I don't believe you have a duke. At which point, Zedru must reveal a duke. If he does not reveal a duke, then one of his cards must be turned face up and he loses that loyalty. So he loses a hit point, and she keeps the money. On the other hand, if he shows the duke and she was wrong, then she doesn't get the money because the Duke blocked it, and then she loses one of her loyalty. And that's what the game is really all about, is bluffing and calling bluffs. Now, the reason I'm not showing you what anybody has is because playing the hand you have is not the way you should look at this game. And a lot of the complaints I hear about this game is people say, oh, it's all about luck. It's about who gets lucky first, who gets the better hand. And I'm doing this to demonstrate that it really isn't about that at all. What's underneath here, it's like poker. I mean, is it lucky to get pocket aces in poker? Of course it's lucky. But the game isn't about getting pocket aces in poker. The game is about all the decisions you make in between. And that's what this is about as well. So in this case, let's just keep going. She takes Foreign Aid. He says, I'm going to block it with Duke. She does not call his bluff. She says, okay, I agree. I'll let you do it. So blocked. Now Zedru's turn. Well, he already said he had a Duke. So now he's going to do the next action, which is tax. Now this has a purple icon here, which is the Duke's action. And you must claim a Duke to do it. And that means you take 3 money from the middle. Now nobody can block this action, but either of these players can call his bluff. Now let's say Asperia didn't have what it took. She didn't have the gut to call his bluff when he blocked her Foreign Aid. But now this taxation is open to everybody to call his bluff. Now Olivia, she's positive he doesn't have a Duke. She's going to say, I call your bluff. You don't have a Duke. Well, let's see what happens here. Does he have a Duke? No. He has an assassin and a captain. That means that Zedru now has been called, and he has to reveal one of these face up. So he's going to reveal his captain. Now, the assassin, only he knows about. I didn't reveal it to these players, just you. So this goes face up right in front of him. Now, everybody knows he lost a captain, and there's one less captain in the world. There's only 3 captains total, and one is right here. So, and he does not get his 3 money because he doesn't have a Duke. That was an interaction. Now we're back to Olivia, and the next action here is steal. Now, this is the captain's action, and it says take 2 coins from another player. And this action can be blocked by another captain or an ambassador, which we haven't seen yet. So now she knows he doesn't have a captain, or at least very unlikely to have one. This could also be a captain. So she's going to say, hey, Zedru, I'm going to steal 2 money from you. Now Zedru can call her bluff on having a captain in the first place. He can also claim to block with his captain or his ambassador. In this case, let's say that he's going to block with his ambassador. Now it's back on Olivia. She can accept that he blocked, and the money stays with him. Or she can call his bluff on having an ambassador in the first place. Just to keep it simple, in this case, she's going to accept that he has an ambassador, and he's going to keep it. Now we're back to Olivia. She's got 3 coins. The next action is called assassination. This says you pay 3 money, and you pick a player to assassinate, one of their loyalty cards. So let's say she's going to assassinate Asperia. She goes, Asperia, I'm assassinating you. Now, she doesn't actually pay the money up front. She just calls an assassination. Now, Asperia has a couple of things she can do. The next action here is called Contessa. Now, the Contessa doesn't actually do anything on her own except for block assassinations. That is her sole purpose. So, Asperia, of course, can call Olivia a liar and say, you don't have an assassin in the first place. And then Olivia would have to prove that. Or she can say, well, I have a Contessa, so I'm going to block it. At which case, Olivia can accept that block, pay the money, and let it continue, or call her a liar for having a Contessa. So because we haven't done Contessa yet, let's say Asperia is going to say, I have a Contessa. And Olivia is going to say, you're lying. Well, let's see. Well, sure enough, she does not have a Contessa. And now something interesting is going to happen. Because Asperia lied and was caught lying, she has to lose a loyalty. But now the assassination still goes through, and then the assassin kills her other card. So Asperia has been eliminated. She's out of the game. And these 2 players are still in. And now the turn passes to our friend here. Now we're all out of, the last action is ambassador. So now he's going to do the ambassador action, which means you take 2 cards out of the court deck. This is called the court deck, like this. And you mix and you put them in your cards. Then he can look at all of the cards together. And then he can shuffle them up, and you should shuffle them so players can't get a read on where you let your original card is. And then he can keep just one and put the other 2 back. So he's going to keep this one. The other 2 are going to get shuffled in. So the ambassador is a cool card because it lets you get a little information in the middle, and also lets you shuffle your cards up so people can, not know what you have anymore. And that was his turn. He's done. Now Olivia's going to say she has the Duke and take 3 tax money. He can, of course, call that bluff. He won't. He's going to claim he has a Duke because he just shuffled in and he very likely could have one. Now remember, there's a Duke right here, which means there's only 2 Dukes left. And either one of them actually have a Duke, then it makes the other person's bluff pretty weak. And there's a lot of tension there about how many Dukes there are, who's calling it. But she takes it. Okay, she's going to go Duke again. Now, no, she's working toward getting 7 money so she can coup this player. Now, he doesn't want that to happen, so he's got to start doing something to keep her down. So he's going to attempt to steal money from her with his captain. And now let's see if she actually has a way to block. So she has an ambassador and a Contessa, even though she's pretended to have an assassin and a Duke this whole game. See, this is the beauty of playing this face down. I had no idea what she had, but the game played out normally as if she had an assassin and a captain or whatever. I forgot even what she already had. But now we know what her cards are. Well, okay, she's got an ambassador, so she's going to block the steal attempt with her ambassador. He's going to say, you're a liar. You don't have an ambassador. This is a good interaction here because she actually isn't lying and she can reveal the ambassador. So here's what happens. In this case, this player simply dies and she wins. But let's say this player didn't die yet. Let's say he still had both his cards. So he'll just lose 1. Now her ambassador, what happens to him? Well, he gets actually shuffled back in to the deck, and then Olivia will get a new random card. So you shuffle this up, and then she'll get a new card. So now she has this new hand. So she actually lose a loyalty, but she did get a new card. So you never have, if a card ever gets revealed, you don't get to keep it. You shuffle it away. So now if this player is dead, then the game is over, and there was not even a coup in that whole operation. Now if she did end up getting to 7 money, or this case 9 because it's 3, 3, and 3, now she would just say, okay, I'm going to pay 7 and coup your last card, and then there's nothing you can do about that, and the game is over. Now at the very bottom it says, if you have 10 or more coins, you must coup. So if you have 7 coins, you don't have to coup yet. You can perform something else. Only when you get to 10 do you have to coup, to force the game a little bit. So that's the game. That's all the actions. That's how it works. And it's really awesome. And I must say, the longer you play it and the deeper you get into your opponent's heads, the more ridiculous it starts to get. And the people start doing stuff that's just totally insane. And you really have to play it for yourself to understand how it works. And it's really amazing. It's an amazing game. I like to say that it's all the best of poker without any of the bad. Like, there's no bad beats in this game. There's no horrible upsets. It's all just a kind of a mind battle. And it's awesome. Now I want to point out a few more interactions that are a little interesting. It all revolves around the assassin. If this player assassinates this player and he calls her a liar on having an assassin, she has to reveal one. In this case, she can. So she'll reveal the card, and then the money she paid to assassinate, she doesn't have to pay that. You take it back. So you only pay the 3 money for assassinating if the assassination goes through with it. If it goes through. So if you're lying about assassinating, you keep the money. Assassinating. And then once again, I said before, but I'll say it again. If you try to bluff, in this case, if she calls, you have a bluff, you don't have an assassin, I call your bluff. I don't have an assassin on me here. And she reveals the assassin, then you lose 1 card for lying, and then 1 card for being assassinated. So if you call the assassin bluff when you're wrong, you lose both of your cards. And at the same time, if you bluff about having a Contessa and you get called, well, you don't have a Contessa and you get assassinated. So a lot of times with the assassin, you want to just take one. And okay, I lose 1, I get assassinated, and then you continue the game. But then you got to remember, what's keeping them from assassinating you again next turn? Well, you got to kind of make a move there. Usually an ambassador is a good move because an ambassador can pretend to get a Contessa, and then you can block it. So anyway, that's the game as far as how it plays, and it's incredibly fun. Let's look at all the personas here so you can see what they all look like. And the ambassador. So here's all the people in the game, and everybody, there's a bunch of these cards in the box, so every new player that doesn't understand them all can have their own card. And on the front and the back, there's a little table of what you can do. But there's only 7 actions in the game, and it's really interesting. Now, there's a variant that me and my friends play a variant of this game. We don't play it standard rules, and I think the variant makes this game much, much better. And it's so simple. Here's what it is. When you have the money to coup someone, so you got your 7 money right here, instead of just picking a player and cooing them, you have to pay 7 money, pick a player, and accurately name one of their cards. So I have to say, Asperia, I'm going to coup your captain. And then Asperia has to truthfully answer, I don't have a captain, or her captain turns face up. So instead of being an automatic hit, you actually have to deduce what they have. And this improves the game in the following ways. I'll tell you exactly how. First off, it greatly increases the value of the ambassador. Because once it's obvious what you have, let's say your hand is obviously Duke and Ambassador, and somebody's got the money to coup, well, they can easily coup you because they know what you have. And if another player played his hand closer to the chest, he's a bad coup target. So you would Ambassador, and then you can change your cards into random cards, and that makes you an equally bad coup target. So that may seem like, oh, obviously you Ambassador every time. Well, yeah, you sure would, but then it makes calling the Ambassador as a bluff a lot more likely and a lot more interesting. Usually when somebody Ambassadors in a standard game of coup, you just let them do it because it's not that big of a deal. But if somebody Ambassadors when it's obvious they're going to get cooed next turn, they're very likely to be lying there. Or are they? And that's a lot of mind games to come into it, which is great. The other thing is, late in the game, the situation can occur where your hand is strictly excellent. Like a Duke Captain is an excellent late game hand. Or Duke Contessa is also an excellent late game hand. Where you can play completely truthfully and then be in a great position to win. And I think that is where the luck in the game comes in, is accidentally having a very good hand and always getting your bluff called and winning because you have what you're claiming because you're being honest, and then drawing the best card for yourself on the next go around. There's a lot of situations where that happens, but it's different because the best card is kind of variable. But the coup, naming the coup really makes being truthful a bit of a disadvantage. Because there's no disadvantage to being honest in this game. Unless your hand is terrible. If your hand is bad and you're being honest, then you're going to lose. But if your hand is good and you're being honest, then you're going to do great. And if somebody calls you a liar, they're going to lose their loyalty because you're not lying. So it's a really big advantage to be honest and have a good hand. But with this coup situation, with this, we're going to name it, being honest exposes you because obviously he's got a captain. Well, then everybody's going to coup that guy because he's being so honest. So it's a really great variant, and it opens up a whole slew of mind games, and I would highly recommend playing that way. So that's the target your coup variant. Play that way. It's better than the original rules. Now, another thing that's better than the original rules is playing one-on-one. Most people say this game doesn't work one-on-one. They say it's 3 to 6 only. I disagree. There's a variant I got from BoardGameGeek by it's by this guy named Zakimos and another guy named Anarchosyn or something. Pardon me about these names. Maybe I'll put them on the video. But here's how this variant works. Here's the traditional variant. I'll demonstrate. Here's player 1. It'll be Zedru, and here's me. We both get 2 cards, and we play coup as normal. Now, this is it's really kind of mindless because you don't get enough of a read on a player in this many, game actions before you randomly just got to take a shot at calling their bluff, and it's boring. Here's what we do instead. When you lose a loyalty, you turn it face up and get another card. Okay? Then you lose another loyalty, you turn that card face up and you get another card. Then you lose another loyalty, you turn that card face up and get another card, but now you're done. So you get 5 loyalty total to play with, and 3 are like this, and now you're done getting new cards. Then when you lose another one, you're down to 1 card, and then you're finally eliminated. This is cool because it lets you actually build a metagame, and it stops situations where you're in an unbeatable spot. For example, here's an example of a spot that's unbeatable. This player has a Contessa and an Assassin, and this player has 2 captains. Let's say we're playing face up. I mean, of course, they can lie their way out of it. Okay, they can lie their way out of it. Just saying unbeatable in this game is kind of rough. Or even this situation right here. So this player can't do anything to stop this player from. This player can't make any money because no matter how much money they make, whether they income or foreign aid or bluff the Duke, bluffing the Duke would be risky. They could bluff the Duke. This player can always just take 2, and they can't block the steal. They can only call his lie, but he's got a captain, so that's not going to work. So you can steal 2 every turn, and unless they're bluffing Duke, if they're bluffing Duke, they can make money, but they're not going to outrace him, and eventually he's going to be able to just coup them out. But in this one-on-one variant, you can just, even though you know he's got a captain, you can just call him on the captain, say, okay, you got captain, but I'm going to call your bluff. And the captain gets destroyed, and they draw a new card at random. and you do lose a loyalty, but at least you get it replaced. So you're not like in the one-on-one game, you can't make that call because you're going down to one card and you're screwed. In the one-on-one with 5 loyalty, you lose the card and you get another card. So you're taking you're sacrificing some of your hit points to develop a better board position, which makes it very exciting and very interesting. And unless you have a metagame. Now also when you're playing a long game, we're putting these face up just for fun. When you're playing a long game and both players have some eliminated cards, you get kind of this situation going where you have a lot of information about what's out there, and that creates some more kind of opportunities for bluffing. Like right now, what does it say if this player says he's assassinating you? There's already 2 assassins here. He's only got 1 left in the whole deck. Is he the kind of person that would lie in the face of 2 assassins when it's so obvious that it's like very hard for him to have one? Or is that the perfect time to lie? That's why it's so cool. So if you're playing one-on-one, try this variant. It's very awesome. Feel free to ask me any questions if you have any. I'll be happy to answer them. I've played this hundreds of times, and it's incredibly fun. Now, I actually bought 2 copies of this game because I wanted a dedicated copy at work. Or this is my home copy, actually, and this is my work copy. Look how small it is. It fits in this deck box, which is $1.99. Everything fits in here. Now, I'm going to show you this to you because this is actually the mobile art edition, and it's got the expansion called Reformation. So let me show this to you. It's pretty interesting. So they got new money, which is the same. The credits are a little different, but they got these little reference cards, which is cool too. They got new art. So let me show you the new art here. So here's the ambassador, the Contessa. Should make them face the camera probably. The Duke, so this chubby guy sits smoking a pipe. The assassin and the captain. So here's the new art called mobile art. And then in the Reformation expansion, they added the Inquisitor, which is a card that I never play with, but it replaces the ambassador. So you play with this instead of the ambassador. And it says, exchange a card with the court deck. So it's like the ambassador, but only 1 card. Or examine and force another player to exchange. So instead of exchanging my card, I can claim an Inquisitor and look at Zedru's card and then look at it and say, why don't you keep it? And I know what it is now. Or I can say, why don't you shuffle it away? I don't like this because we play with these my coup rules that are, you name the coup, and looking at their card removes that kind of tension. So I don't like him. I like the ambassador a lot better, but there's him. And they also added in these faction cards, which have they're 2-sided cards. There's a reformist and a loyalist. And then when you're playing with 5 or more people, you deal these cards out in alternating order. So it's loyalist, reformist, loyalist, reformist. And then players can't target their allied people. So if there's another loyalist, you can't steal from him or her. You can't assassinate them. You can only assassinate the reformists or coup the reformists. But there's 2 more actions added. You can pay 1 money to change your loyalty. Or you can pay 2 money to change an enemy's loyalty. So I've only played with this once, and it was pretty interesting, but we didn't play enough games to really get into it. I can definitely see how it gets interesting, because with 6 players, who do you steal from? Who do you assassinate? It kind of feels so random who to target, where this gives it a little bit more direction, where you only have like 2 targets available instead of all 6, because only 2 are reformists, or whatever. And everybody's the same faction, then it's a free-for-all. Anybody can do anything. So a lot of cool situations can happen, and there's a lot more ways to spend your money. So this is cool. I usually at work we don't play it, but I want to point out how cool it is that this whole game fits in this tiny little deck box, and I can bring it to work and play it there, and it's really fun. So I highly recommend you guys get this game. It's just a blast, and it's only like $11. It's like $11. Easy pickup. It's great to play with 3, 4, 5, and it's awesome to play one-on-one if you use that variant where you have 5 loyalty each. So that's a board game review and a how to play and review of Coup. Hope you like that. If you think I should do more board game reviews, let me know. I'm actually expecting to get the sequel to Coup called Coup G54 in the mail tomorrow. And I might do an unboxing video of that at least, because I think it's so cool, and kind of do a how to play there. But I haven't actually tested the game, so I haven't played the game yet. I will. I'm excited. So let me know what you think, and if you want some more videos, let me know. Thanks for watching.